Hey folks, I'm Todd Jones. I'm the host of the podcast, Press Box Access. Here's a clip from my interview with Miike DeCourcy. Mike recalls what it was like covering Bob Huggins when the coach was at the peak of his power at the University of Cincinnati in the 1990s.
Bob Huggins' career did not end the way we would have liked it to. But you covered Bob for a period of time, probably about as long as I did. I was only covered the beat for 4 years before I was able to get the Sporting News as a full-time job. But that program was not as malevolent as it was being portrayed nationally when I entered the beat. It was not. I mean, the young men that I covered, people like Kenyon Martin and Melvin Levitt,
Danny Fortson,
Logan,
yeah,
Danny
those
Fortson.
guys, yeah, good guys.
Yeah, exactly. But it was not the way it was portrayed nationally by a lot of important people and important publications when I joined it. And so, again, that goes back to that. Don't accept what everybody else says. Accept what you learn through your own personal experience and reporting. If you mention Bob Huggins, the word zero graduation rate will come up. And I remember when I was in Memphis and I was writing for the Sporting News at the time, I talked to the people at Cincinnati after that was made public. And the way they figured the graduation rate at the time was if you were a transfer, you didn't count no matter you graduated or not. If you were junior college and you graduated, didn't matter, didn't count. If you were a walk-on, it didn't matter, didn't count. It only mattered if you signed as a high school recruit. So in 92, the team we're talking about, the JUCOs that nobody wanted in the building, 92, that team, they had 5 seniors and 4 of them graduated. And their rate for that year was 0 because Anthony Buford was a 4-year transfer from Akron,
I believe. Yeah.
Akron. Yeah, Akron. Mike Reckenaker was a promoted walk-on. And then you had 2 other players that were junior college and 3 other players that were junior college recruits, and only one of them didn't graduate. So 80% you had, but the rate for that was 0. I understood that Bob had, issues that he needed to deal with at times, but I still felt that he was more open and honest about who he was and what his program was than the person I dealt with previously.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Our paths did cross in those days. You had left Memphis. You had went to Pittsburgh to Memphis, where you covered college basketball from 93 to 97. And then you moved to Cincinnati at the Cincinnati Enquirer. I was just at the end of my tenure at the Cincinnati Post at the time. And so we're both around Huggins, I think in that 96, 97 season, might have been.
Yep.
What do you recall about covering a guy like that who has a reputation, this narrative that's formed nationally, but on a day-to-day basis? How did you find covering Bob as a reporter day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, I've covered coaches that I enjoyed covering more. I mean, I loved covering the Memphis Tigers and Larry Finch. He was open and less volatile and that sort of thing. But I found covering Bob to be a pleasant experience. The teams were entertaining. We talked about the young men that were on those teams. I enjoyed dealing with them. The program was well liked in the community. It was not always. It's not every single day was perfect. And I remember that there were one player got suspended in my second year, I think, or third year on the beat, and they just would not say why the player got suspended. I remember being frustrated by that. But I think in general it was a good beat to be on. And again, covering it with people like you and Jeff Shellman as the competition, I enjoyed that. You were both terrific reporters and made me be on my toes and fun to be with when we go to dinner on the road and that sort of thing.